Hey, y'all, hey. This is Talia Johnson-Huff, the MWBE coach, and you're now tuned in to Blueprint the Culture right here on Mix 1080 AM, WUFO, and Power 96.5 FM. This is real talk, real stories, real people. Let's build.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Blueprint the Culture. I am your host, Talia Johnson-Huff. And today we have a special guest in the studio with us. We have Toya Adams from the Pretty and Packing Gun Club. And this is a special episode to me, Toya. And the reason being is because when I think about, being someone who, is licensed to carry a firearm, I had an incident happen with my daughter, and I posted about it on LinkedIn earlier this week. And it just hit me hard where two adults and two teenage girls approached my daughter under a misunderstanding between teenage kids. And in talking to the mom, she shared with me that, I was so upset. I grabbed my weapon and I came up to the, And so, and I came up to the school and I get it, right? Like in this day and time. And so I'm like, you know what? We need to start talking about, first of all, the rules and regulations of carrying a weapon.
Absolutely.
We need people who have a weapon to know what they're doing and also be qualified and ready to carry that weapon. So, of course, I jumped on the phone or on Facebook, Instagram, wherever I reached out to you. And I was like, Toya, I need you to come to the show. And you were like, I don't do all that. But here you are. And so thank you so much for joining me. Toya, just tell us a little bit about who you are, your gun club, and why you started it.
My name is Latoya J. Adams. I started it because some people don't know. Recently, I did a pitch, and I did let people know that I am a domestic violence survivor.
Wow.
I was married before, and my husband put out a firearm on me.
Wow.
And threatened to kill me. And then shortly after that, I got into a relationship with someone that I really trusted, and he gave me 2 black eyes. And I had to hide from my sons. I have 2 sons. One is 16 and one will be 24 in a couple weeks. And I used to be petrified of guns. I was petrified of firearms.
Yeah.
And I just said, I need to protect myself and my kids. And so with that, I applied for my pistol permit. And I got denied before. And I like to share my story because so many people think that, I was arrested before, I can't get it. Or this happened in my life, I can't get it. Or I can't do this, I can't do that. I was denied. I waited a year. I finally got it. Then going to buy my firearm, I was mistreated at a store. They didn't want me in their space. And then when I went to the gun range for the first time, I was, again,
same
thing.
In
their space. So when I left in the parking lot, I'm like, it has to be somewhere just for women. And at the time, I didn't find anything. The closest place was like Rochester. But right now, there is another place that's across the United States, and they have a chapter here in Buffalo.
Okay.
But in 2022, I decided, I'm going to start my own. So I created Pretty and Packing in 2022. I just wanted to create a space where women who had their pistol permit or wanted to get it can come together, and we go to the gun range together. We learn, we talk about the laws. New York State has so much laws.
So strict.
So that's how Pretty and Packing became what it is. It took off last year. Right now we have about 23 members, and I'm looking to grow.
I love that. First of all, thank you for sharing that story. I am also, I don't know if I like to say domestic violence survivor, but I would say I was a victim of domestic violence, or domestic violence was a victim of me because it didn't turn out well for the other party.
Okay.
But and knowing that and being in that space, it's like people are like, how can you do that? Or how do you allow that to happen to you?
Right.
And, when you're on the outside looking in, after you're outside of that situation, you do wonder, like, how did I allow that to happen?
Exactly.
But when you're in it, it's an entirely different psychological experience, right? And you feel alone, in some instances you may be afraid, and in other instances you're like, I don't even want anybody, I'm embarrassed by it.
Yes.
So it's so many thoughts that, go through our head as women who, deal with domestic violence. So kudos to you for making it out and doing something that made you feel whole again, which is, going and getting your firearm and protecting yourself. And so I think that's so awesome. When people hear about a gun club for women, they come to all these assumptions.
Oh God, yes.
They're like, oh, what are they doing there? Are they planning on killing off all the men? You know, like
Yes.
what's happening? And I want you to, what does it look like? You know, you shared a little bit about that, but what does it look like when a woman joins the Pretty and Packing Gun Club for the first time?
Well, so with it being new and people are joining, I do interviews.
Okay, awesome.
Everything isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
I want it to be,
Yeah.
but sometimes it isn't. So
Right.
some of the members, I ask some of the members would they like to host some of the interviews. And we just go through a series of questions to see people's mindset, why they
Yeah.
want to join, where they are. There's some people who do go to the range on a regular basis, and then there's some people who has had their pistol permit for years and never bought a firearm. They never shot a firearm. So it's a lot that goes into it. So we go through interviews, and if they're accepted and welcome into the club, safety is my number one thing.
Yeah.
I go over safety all the time with our ladies, whether you're new there or not. That's one thing that I project to everyone is just being safe at the range. We go through a series of things, what they should have when they come.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so, because a lot of
Right.
times you don't know when it's your
Right.
first time.
Right. They don't know they need eye protection, ear protection,
Yeah.
what they should have in their range bag. We go through a series of things to prepare everyone to be able to come to the range with us.
I love that. I love the interview. I think it's so important, the interview process and, you know, the person learning the mindset of the person, because a lot of times we don't think about that. A lot of times we don't think about like, okay, what's the mindset behind it? And, you know, I want to bring that back a little bit because, hey y'all, I'm sorry, I'm going live as well. But I want to bring that back a little bit because I think for me, the mindset is important. And the reason the mindset is important is because, you know, and having this incident happen so close to school, I've never had anything like this happen to me so close to home. And so a lot of people don't know this, but my dad was a marksman in the Marines. So I was born on base. So he was like a prize shooter. He owned so many different types of weapons. So I've been going to the gun range literally since I was like 5.
Oh, wow. Love
And
it.
that was like a stress reliever for my dad, like learning how to clean your weapon, learning how important it is to, you know, be able to disassemble it and reassemble it and all those things and learning about it. So I was never afraid of it.
Yes.
Because it was introduced to me at a young
an early
age. And so, you know, the first thing I did was I knew, Talia, don't do anything that's going to stop you from your right to carry
Right.
and your right to have a firearm, because we have a right to it, right?
Yes.
And so when I'm thinking about the situation that happened with my daughter, it didn't sit well with me, obviously,
Right.
but what was heavy was the fact that this is a mom. This was another mom who came and she was afraid and she felt so comfortable with me that she told me that she was carrying it. Can you talk a little bit about the laws when it comes to different zones? Because as we know, there have been public figures who, you know, gotten in trouble for carrying their weapons and having them at the wrong place at the wrong time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. New York State, as we said before, has some of the strictest gun laws, and school zones are off limits. You should not be concealed carrying, open carry. Well, we don't have open carry here in New York State, but there should be no firearms allowed in school zones where children are. I feel like if people educate themselves and know, like, even people who aren't licensed to carry, they're toting these guns around, and you're just shooting and doing different things like that, and it's just like, they take that when they're going to court and things like that, they're looking at the area that you're in, your surroundings, the environment, who was there, and kids in that zone is not. So being a concealed carrier, that, I don't know what they were thinking, but that is not something
It's not acceptable. Yeah. I think it goes back to, you know, being licensed to carry and being ready to carry. And it sounds like Pretty and Packin' does a lot of readiness.
Yes.
Can you talk about, I know you talked about like what to be prepared for, what to have in the bag, you know, coming with the protection. I'll share a story that I went to a particular gun range, me and my dad, and we went there, and it was a different experience. The experience was, first of all, we were the only 2 people of color in the gun range, and that was fine, you know, it was fine.
Right.
But I felt out of place immediately. I was the only woman there.
Right.
And it was kind of like I hadn't gone in a while because, everything was shut down from COVID.
Right.
And I'm like, coming in there and it just felt weird.
Right.
How do you prepare women to walk into those spaces? Because are you shooting at like a private gun club or is this somewhere public? Can you talk a little bit about, how that comfort zone or that transition into those spaces, how does Pretty and Packing help with that?
Because I don't have my own space, yes, we do go to different ranges. One is private and the other one is open to the public that we go to. And it is, with my own personal experience, just recently, I just went and took a certification to be a range safety officer.
Oh,
right?
I love that.
And I was the only woman of color in the room.
Yeah.
Like 15 people, and I'm the only one. Before, I would have packed my stuff and left. But this time, it's just like, oh, move over. Like,
Yeah.
make room for me because I'm here. And that's where I want the ladies to be. We need to be here. We need to train. You
Yeah.
deserve to be here as well. So we talk about a lot of different things in our club. We talk about how to store your firearms, but kids should not have access to them.
Yeah.
I talk to my boys about it. One is able to get his pistol permit. Do I want him to get it right now? No, but if he chooses to do it, he's of legal age to do it. Eventually I do, but it's a mindset, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't for him right now, but I do want them to be able to take it apart. If you come across it or be put in a situation, I want them to know about it and know
Yeah.
how to handle it if need be. And that's what I feel like a lot of parents should do is talk to your kids about it. People are walking around without holsters. That's not safe
Yeah.
at all. I make sure the ladies have holsters on all the time. Like, I'll just walk up to them like, oh, what we got going on today?
Yeah.
Or women like to put their firearms without a holster in their purses and things like that.
Me.
That's not safe.
I didn't say that. I say that out loud.
It's not safe. We'll talk after this.
Oh, I'm getting
It's
in trouble
not-
on my own radio show. Dang. Is this what you came to do? No.
It's not safe. And
And it's not. And you're so
it's
right.
not.
It's not.
The littlest thing could just set that
Yeah.
trigger off.
Yeah.
Firearms, people like to say like, oh, they're bad and you shouldn't touch it, this, that, and the third. It's the person that has it.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
That's-
Or could be the problem because of the mindset, right?
I think they're getting a little bit more strict on, who can carry a weapon. And I know that, when I went years ago, it was an entirely different process. Now you have to go through more of a rigorous training.
Yes.
I remember when I had my salon, I did the firearm. I had the firearm course. I held it in my salon because that was a time when there a lot of human trafficking was going on. And they were pulling on people's doors, following people. Can you talk a little bit about, what have some of the women who are coming to the gun club, what are some of the reasons that they come? Can you talk a little bit about that?
A lot of the women come because they already had theirs and they were looking for the space, like such as myself. They identify with a lot what I went through.
Right.
And once I started it, I seen that it's a need. A lot of women are looking for it. They might not have known about it. Now y'all do.
Hello, Pretty and Packing Gun Club.
But a lot of them just do it because they like it, like such as yourself. They grew up around it. They may know about firearms, and they were just looking for a space with all women. They may have a husband or a boyfriend or a significant other that they don't want to train with. We know what that's like sometimes.
Yeah.
And they just want to be around a bunch of women that share the same goals. To get familiar with their firearms, to get the knowledge and know the laws. We clean our firearms together. It's so much. We do different. Sometimes, I know in October I had an event before for domestic violence. That's domestic violence awareness month, and it was at the MMA place on Great Arrow, and we just learned self-defense moves.
I love that.
Some people may not want to carry a firearm, but learn how to defend yourself.
Absolutely. I think that's so important.
Take some classes. There's pepper spray out there.
Literally.
Just have something. I've had women that has come and they were interested, and they may have shot the firearm the first time and didn't like it and was like, oh, I need to think about this. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
just being aware. I like to have that space for them to have that
Yeah.
instead of going to go do something and you don't even really want it, because it gets expensive.
It does.
It
And it
gets
becomes a
expensive,
habit.
baby.
It's a habit. And the next thing you know, you got 25 weapons. You like, wait,
Right.
what happened?
Yeah.
Because I feel like and the thing about it is I feel like there's an art to it as well. And then, I don't know, just for me, it's so calming. I remember a situation, and I always have these situations in my mind, but I remember a situation where there was this guy that I didn't really know him personally, but we were both Pisces, and we had this communication going. And I remember there was a situation, and he got murdered. And I was supposed to go to this kind of party that he was at, and I was saying to myself, like, he literally got beat to death. And I was so angry about not being there. I was so upset because I'm saying to myself, how do all these people let this happen?
Right.
Like, people were around, right? And I'm saying to myself, that would have never happened on my watch. And I get teary-eyed. When I tell you I don't know this man, but I can feel it,
Right.
it bothered me so much that I called my dad and I'm like, we got to go to the range. And I had to get it out. I had to just I was angry. I was all of those things. Same thing around, the 514, the top shooting, with everything that's happened in our city, and especially the top shooting, and just around violence in Buffalo in general. It makes you angry. It makes you sad. You have so many emotions. And I think the range is a safe place to be able to, if you're licensed or if you're thinking about getting licensed, a place for you to go to so you can see, first of all, how powerful these weapons are. They hold so much power in them, right? So people think, oh, you running and you shooting. Like, yeah, that's not real life, right? So, like, talking about what it looks like to be able to let off a firearm. It's not like, first of all, it does something to your heart, to your adrenaline, to your mind. Like, it takes a lot to even, shoot a weapon. And so, and talking about the 514 Memorial, I am the outreach and MWB compliance coordinator for that. And I think it's important for people who look like us to be able to hold space in that space and talk about some of the things that you're talking about with holding a weapon, because for so long, I was carrying my weapon in my hoodie.
Oh my God.
And
in the pocket, in the front part. Oh.
Okay, like I would go into Target and I was carrying my weapon, and way too many clips that I'm sure probably were not allowed by the law. Because I'm saying in my mind, if they, then I.
Right.
I was afraid for my kids to walk through the store without me. Like, I needed to be everywhere. So just so many things psychologically happened. And so can you talk about, what does that look like to hold space, advocating, for women who are armed, and just for anybody who's thinking about being armed and going through those emotions? Just give us kind of some feedback on what you think going to the range and being a part of a gun club can provide for people who are going through that.
A safe space. I use the word safe a lot. Safe space, because at your own pace, you're doing these things. And when you don't want to, there's some ladies that's nervous.
Yeah.
But I don't be pushy, but I let them know, hey, I was in your shoes before.
Yeah.
And I get what's making you scared. You know what I mean? What are you afraid of? And then they let me know, and then I can find a way of how we're going to tackle this. Because they want to be a part of the club. I have those conversations too. Maybe it's not for them, but they want to stay, and I want to help them. I want them to be in the space with the ladies so that they can gain as much knowledge as they want. It's a horrific thing that happened in the city, and I want everyone to be prepared if ever.
Yeah.
I myself thought, like, if I was in that store, had reached for my firearm and did it?
Yeah.
And I thought, and I'm like, he had on headgear, he had on this.
So many
he was
different
prepared.
things.
And it's just like, the only way that you can do certain things is if you go to the range and you train. You have to train, and you have to go and shoot. You have to know how to do these things. You just can't be like, oh, I'm about to do this, and what are you aiming for? You don't know.
Then what?
Some of y'all be closing that eye, knowing you ain't supposed to be closing that eye.
And that's that's so deep. That's so deep because that really goes to, those are all the thoughts that I had in my mind. I'm thinking like, if someone doesn't prepare us, there are people who are prepared and they've been preparing for years. They prepared their kids out the gate. You know, they're 4 and 5 years old, like me, in the range, cleaning weapons, learning how to shoot in the country, going hunting and all those things. And our children, you know, are making ghost guns and doing crazy stuff to each other. But what if we prepared them? What would that look like? Would it look different? I don't know. You know, I'm not saying that that's a solution, but would it look different if it were more natural? If it wasn't this, I would say, clout around it,
Right.
and it was normalized, would that look different? In just your opinion, do you think that that would make a difference if it was more normalized?
I think it would look different. For people who pick up a firearm that's illegal, you don't know how many people done had that firearm. You don't know what was done with that firearm. And I feel like if they were educated on like, okay, so when you go and you have to serve this sentence, I love my freedom.
Yeah.
I'm claustrophobic.
Me too.
I want to be around for my kids. So that goes back to the mindset.
Yeah.
Being educated on different things. And you wouldn't want to. I don't have the desire to. People ask me to come out or go to a happy hour. I'm not tossing them back and doing all of
Yeah.
that. Like, why? Because that's my mental state being messed with.
Yeah.
And you just can't be walking around with your firearm. It alters your mental state. And that's
It
not
does.
good at
And
all.
it makes you think. It's so funny that you said that because a lot of times, you know, I always, it's always fun. And I've been around friends for years and people who had no clue that I even carried. Like there have
Right.
been altercations that go on around me and they still have no clue that I
Right.
carry. And because it's my business, it's
Right.
my concealed carry, right? This is my weapon that belongs to me. You're not required, it's not a requirement to utilize it just because you have it.
Right.
And that's the thing. And one of the things is knowing that and having a firearm, it's about knowing when to hold them and when to fold them
Yes.
because it really is a life and death
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
You can't just, I'll pull it out. Oh, you waving it. You can't just, it's not cute. It's not cute. It's a powerful weapon that can kill, right? And so I think that's super important. And I love what you explained about, you know, about what happened on 514 and the preparation that went into that and how we are unprepared. And so I'm always, everything I'm talking about is access versus readiness. And it's
Right.
kind of the same thing, you know, with this conversation. And so, you know, my question to you, I know we're wrapping up kind of, right? Okay, we have about 5 minutes. And so, you know, with all that's going on in this city specifically, what do you think those who are carrying, who are licensed to carry, what do they owe the city and the community?
To be safe.
You see how quick you
To
said
be
that?
safe while
Yeah.
carrying. I mean, and I know you said you do some things but we have to be safe carrying
Absolutely.
these firearms. Firearms can go off if they're in your purse or you're carrying it somewhere on your body that you shouldn't, and you accidentally go to scratch somewhere or whatever.
Right.
You tap that trigger, you know you can hurt yourself or someone else. And get the education, get the training. Go to the range on a regular basis. People go to the gym. That's how I look. That's my gym.
Yeah.
I don't go to the gym. I probably need to, but I go to the range. And you have to practice. There's tons of firearm instructors out there. If you don't want to join a club or, you know, whatever, that you can do one-on-one training with.
Yeah.
Seek them out and make sure that you're prepared for a situation and know your mindset of if you do come across something, you shouldn't always just be reaching for it anyway. You have to assess the situation. But this is in seconds.
Yeah.
That you have
That
to
you-
determine if
that's
you're
it.
going to.
That's it.
Because if you
Fight or
pull it
flight.
out, you better be using it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't aware of that. They just, I don't know if they think it's cool or whatever, but educate your kids, learn about how you're storing them, your mindset. Just make sure your mind is clear.
All of
Yeah,
those things.
all of those.
So Toya, another question that you kind of touched on as we're closing is for women who are to feel that they're in a dangerous situation, domestic violence situation, maybe they're being stalked. Is Pretty in Packing a resource for them?
Yes. Yes. Yes, I also so people who don't have their pistol permits, I walk people through the process.
Yeah. Oh,
People
I
think
love
that
that.
it's complicated and it's not. I
Yeah.
literally take out the time. There are people out in the community that will say, yes, she helped me or she guided me. I take out the time to do that if that's what they feel they need to do. Or if you just want to have a conversation,
Yeah.
hey, I'm willing, I'm open to. I put my story out there.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Lee was wrapping us up. So, for those in the community who want to learn more about Pretty and Packin' Women's Gun Club, where can they find you? How can they reach you and become a member if they're interested?
www.prettypackwgc.com. You can text me 716-377-7126. I'm on Facebook under Toya Adams. Pretty and Packin' Women's Gun Club is also on there. I am on TikTok under
Hello.
Toya Adams. I'm on Instagram, PrettyPack22.
Awesome. Toya, thank you so much. This is a conversation that I think we will continue to have.
Yes.
So Toya also was a winner of our Innovative
Yes.
Business Award for the Buffalo
So
Niagara
grateful.
MWBE Training Day Conference, which is coming up October 22nd of this year. And we'll have Toya's information on the Blueprint the Culture socials as well. So Toya, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for what you do.
Stay safe and pretty, everybody.
Okay. Thank y'all. We love y'all, Buffalo.
You've been listening to Blueprint the Culture with Talia Johnson-Huff, the MWBE coach, right here on Mix 1080 AM, WUFO, and Power 96.5 FM. Catch us every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. because every culture has a blueprint and we're building it right here.